David James for Life the Basic Manual. This video is about the residents that aren't happy.
I own an apartment here in NV Buildings in Salford Quays. We've undergone a fire risk assessment, and as a consequence of this we now face some issues that need to be implemented.
Built by Countryside Properties. Here's a strapline from their website. We're passionate about creating places where people aspire to live and that deliver enduring value.
Hello, my name's Sophie and I've lived within the NV building since 2014. However, I did not budget for the fact that to be told that the building that I'd had surveyed before buying was now deemed to not meet regulation and would require a lot of maintenance work to bring it back up to current regulation. The more worrying thing is, and something that people don't expect, is that potentially at the time of being built, it might not have met regulation then, meaning that the property developer will have been breaking the law if that is the case. The fact that we have been left potentially with a huge bill in one lump sum as owners to just fork out of the blue is completely morally wrong, especially when the property developer knew that they weren't meeting building regulation and they are going around and carrying on building properties elsewhere but not facing the responsibility that they've left their previous owners in, especially as their current website says that they were voted 2017 best property developer for residential homes. Well, we're a residential home and you've left us in a situation like this, so I think there really needs to be some question behind the moral obligations that you have, especially if it is found that it wasn't meeting the regulations at the time.
Hello, my name's Phil Morgan. I'm a leaseholder in NV Buildings and I've been living here for 7 years. I'm frustrated with the situation. Firstly, I want to be reassured that I'm safe, but secondly, there's responsibility for the situation here in NV Buildings. People built this building, they put cladding on the building, it was signed off, contractors worked on this, panels were agreed, and in all of this nobody has yet taken responsibility for the situation we find ourselves in. So as we as leaseholders have been assured all the way through that we were safe and secure in our flats, we're now going to be liable for this, and that doesn't seem to me fair to me.
We've lived in the NV buildings now for nearly 2 years. We went from renting in the building next door to moving to NV buildings, and we've been very, very happy here. But obviously with what's happened with Grenfell, there's been a lot of reports about how it could affect us, and it's obviously made us feel very unsecure. Costs have been battered around about how much things could cost to fix, and because of things that have happened, it looks like it's going to fall on the leaseholders. It's clearly going to be a significant cost to us. We've had quite a few difficult years for personal family reasons. We can't really afford to pay. Why should the leaseholders have to pay for a building that's not been built correctly or is against specifications? It isn't fair that we bought a building and we had all the searches done. We went through the conveyancing process. We bought a building that we thought was livable, saleable, we could live there comfortably and stay there for the foreseeable future. And now obviously with everything that's happened, it doesn't look like that's the case. In fairness, we don't really have spare money for things like that. It's not something that you plan on budgeting for. It's meant we've had to make a lot of adjustments to our lives. I just don't see how it's fair that this has fallen on the leaseholders. There are many people that could be held responsible, and obviously no one is currently prepared to help us.
My name's Alexander Wilson, and I moved into the NV buildings. I bought a property in the NV buildings back in February to last year, to 2017. And I'm a first-time buyer, so essentially my life savings went into to buying my property. Obviously we know that nowadays it's extremely difficult to get onto the property ladder. So everything went into it. I moved into the property and I absolutely love living here. And then obviously of recent there's been talks around the kind of cladding issues. And as a direct result of that, I've been asked to fund or put towards the fund for cladding replacement to make it fire compliant, I guess. It's affected me massively, really, because my main concern is how I come up with these kind of funds. I mean, it's a significant amount of money that we're being asked to come up with, money that I don't have access to, and certainly not access to in such a short time frame. We've been told roughly that it would be around 2 times my service charge amount, which for me equates to just short of £6,000 that I need to find within around about 6 months on top of my regular service charge. The obvious question for me is, how do I come up with this sort of money? And for me, it's an enormous struggle. I mean, it's going to put me into a huge amount of debt being able to get this money. I don't have that kind of access to that sort of money personally, so I'm going to have to go elsewhere. I'm going to have to look for loans or some form of financial agreement to be able to get that money. And obviously, that is not something that I was expecting to have to do when I bought this property, and certainly not within that space of time. So it's a huge issue for me, and I'm sure many others. And it obviously causes a lot of panic within the household, and all sorts of financial strain and issues off the back of that.
David James for Life the Basic Manual.